Guadalcanal is part of the Solomon Islands, which lie to the northeastern approaches of Australia. Though it is a humid and jungle-covered tropical island, its position made it strategically important for both sides in the Pacific War. The island had been a British colony and the Japanese had easily taken the island. Since the attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, the Japanese had advanced toward the South Pacific, threatening the Allies' South Pacific ferry route connecting Australia and the United States. The Japanese then began to build an airfield on the island. The Japanese built an airfield at Lunga Point and artillery positions in the hills nearby, and had about 8,400 men on the island by August. The Japanese finished the airfield planes and began to bomb northern Australia, and attacked ships going between the United States and Australia.
With the Japanese now in command of the attack, over 1,000 Americans are killed. 4 heavy cruisers are sunk. 1 destroyer is a total loss. For the American Navy, this is the worst disaster since Pearl Harbor.
This was the time when we didn't control the water or the air. They came down with 2 battleships and I don't know how many cruisers and destroyers, and they just cruised up and down the coast. It went on, sounded like 10 hours. We were laying on the side of the hill, just praying, when's it going to stop? And yeah, you're scared to death.
The United States was not really ready to fight yet, and this was the first offensive undertaken by U.S. forces. The case was seen as being so urgent that the U.S. had to go ahead, no matter what, to stop this threat to Australia. On August 7, 1942, 10,000 U.S. soldiers landed at Guadalcanal. Marines landed on the northern beaches of Guadalcanal after Navy ships fired onto the island ahead of them. The strategy of the U.S. was to take the airfield at the canal and hold it, therefore aiding in defense of the island and denying the Japanese the advanced airfield. Over the next 3 months, the Marines secured the airfield and a 6-mile wide section of the beach. U.S. landings on Guadalcanal met with great initial success. The Allies overwhelmed the outnumbered Japanese defenders, who had occupied the islands since May 1942, and captured Tulagai and Florida, as well as an airfield, later named Henderson Field, that was under construction on Guadalcanal. On October 13th, an Army unit arrived to reinforce the Marines. The Marines and Army soldiers repelled a Japanese attack on October 23rd, inflicting heavy losses on the Japanese and pushing the Japanese further during the rest of the month. On November 4th, the U.S. infantry fought 1,500 Japanese troops that landed on the beach at Kolai Point. They killed half the Japanese force. The rest escaped into the jungle. In mid-November, the U.S. Navy fought the Japanese at the Battle of Guadalcanal. They used fast ships to ferry reinforcements and supplies to the island by night to avoid Allied air attack from Henderson's Field. These nightly deliveries were known to the Allies as the Tokyo Express. In this 4-day battle, the U.S. Navy foiled the reinforcement effort, and only 4,000 of 10,000 Japanese troops reached land. The Allied forces won the Battle of Guadalcanal against the Empire of Japan. The Japanese lost a total of 24,000 men, while the Americans sustained 1,600 killed and about 4,200 wounded. The various naval battles cost each side 24 warships.
On December 9th, elements of the 1st Marine Division began leaving the island. The weary assault troops were headed for a rear area for rest and relaxation.
Totally emotionally and physically exhausted.
In their minds,
It was going to
this
take
was going to be a very long war. They realized what they were up against, and it was going to be a
Guadalcanal
long road.
was turned officially secure on February 9, 1943. But the price paid for that small corner of an island in the South Pacific was high. More than 3,000 Americans had died fighting the enemy at Guadalcanal. Thanks to their supreme sacrifice, the U.S. had stopped the enemy's sweep of aggression.
The Battle of Guadalcanal could have been lost. It's entirely feasible. And the fact that it's the first battle, having lost it would have been a calamitous blow, certainly to American morale.
What really set the path for all the American armed forces in World War II was what happened at Guadalcanal. It proved the Axis powers were mortal and could be defeated even under conditions of extraordinary adversity.
Guadalcanal, in microcosm, it's sort of like the story of all of the Pacific. Long, slugging it out, messy, filled with misery, filled with horror, and it just goes on and on and on and on and on and on.